Welcome to the Delaware County Commissioners meeting of Monday, April the 20th. It's now 9 a.m. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Brand.
Here.
Commissioner Reagan.
Present. Okay, we do have some appointments. We heard anything from the Board of Health?
No update from the Board of Health. I asked for an update late last week. The board's still considering a list of candidates.
Civic Center?
Nobody has submitted their
So there's still that
interest. So
one
we're still
open.
looking for a Republican, preferably with legal experience. And then at the end of the last meeting, a young man came up and gave us an application for the Disability Council. Do we have nominations to the Disability Council?
We do, and I don't think we have any opening, but we could have Jenna print out if we are active. I mean, if we're full and if we have any delays. But I think we're okay. But they meet every other month. It's a nice group of people that get together and make suggestions that the ADA compliance. And it's a city-county group.
Can I say something real quick? We received a complaint through our website, ADA complaint, about not being able to hear inside this room during the meeting. So we've moved our microphones closer. And if anyone has trouble hearing, please throw your hand up so we can make sure we try to make adjustments during this meeting. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. So we can look at this next month, or next, first month of May.
Okay.
Okay.
Nothing else for appointments. May I also make a quick
Sure.
announcement? There was a hack. An employee got hacked. So this is for county employees with county emails. If you received an email about the employee assistance program, do not click on it. Do not open it up. That IT's working on this right now, but I wanted to get that out there.
Thank you. Mr. Brook, how about the tabled business?
I've sent out,
Mr. Brook, could you pull your microphone up to you, please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
I've sent out some other information. We're still working with those providers.
Okay. Thank you. Approval of our April 6th minutes.
I sent a couple corrections. They were generally very good. Thank you. Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as corrected.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes, thank you. Okay, now we have presentation from Mr. Thompson and Anna King Cross.
Will you turn that microphone on there at the podium, please? Just, there you go.
Good morning. My name is Jacob Thomas. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the East Central Indiana Regional Planning District. I'm here with Mrs. Anna King Cross. She's our Officer of Community Engagement. She's going to tell us about a little bit of our financials for this year, the first quarter of 2026, and some of our programs right now.
Thank you.
He's handing out just a little handout, just explaining over what I'm going to be talking about.
Thank you.
Overall, first quarter has been very busy for ECI RPD. We have been working closely with Liberty Perry School Corporation to build their first ADA fully compliant playground. So that has received full funding, and that project will start implementation for the early construction phases. We have been planning our annual golf outing. This is a community collaboration with Hearts and Hands. This focuses on providing back to school tools that are needed for the success of students ages K through 12 in Delaware County. We have been exploring a partnership with the Lilly Endowment. This is going to focus on helping achieve educational programs for Lakeview Christian School in Marion. We have been working on our professional and training development in-house. This is going to be our 4th annual year that ECI RPD has sent an employee to Ball State University's Economic Development course. This is showing that not only are we filling capacity gaps with economic development out in the Delaware County and the region, but we're also aiming to make sure that we are professionally trained to provide those services. We're working with various small towns on many different projects that Jacob's going to go over. Some of these can include Daleville, Eaton, Selma, and Westdale. And I'm going to hand it off to Jacob to give some of the rest of our updates.
So as far as our federal and state programs go, I'm sure you guys are aware that our SS4A just wrapped up. That was our safety action plan that's been finalized and adopted. The handout that I just gave you guys in that has the top 10 intersections and unsafe roadways listed by tier and off of a point criteria. There also is a short-term and long-term options that you can take there to try to kind of resolve those issues. The deadline for this current call of SS4A is May 26th. So if you want any implementation dollars, I'd like to know as soon as possible so we can try working on the application for that. From the meetings that we had in DC when we were up there a couple months ago, this program is looking like it's going to open again, but obviously not confirmed. But DC that program's been well received in DC as well, so hopeful for that. CCMG, the call that was kind of, I'm not going to call it a second call because it wasn't formal, but for those towns that weren't awarded the first time, for us, Swayze wasn't awarded. They have put their bids out. Bids closed today, so I should get an email back from them, and we should be receiving some money for the state for them as well as the first call of this year opens up in July 1st and July 31st. We have 5 towns that are looking to apply again for this year. Moving on to our EPA assessment grant. That's nothing new for us. It's the same program we've been doing with Brownsfields. It's a phase 1 and phase 2 of the properties. It's another $500,000 grant we applied for, and we should be hearing back for awards back in June of this year. And then talking about the facilitation we've had with the Westdale Wastewater Management Project. This is the removal of that current tank over there. We applied for CDS, Congressional Direct Spending, for $3.9 million. Hopefully we hear back soon for that. Are there any questions on any of our current programs or any of the funding we're working for as well?
You mentioned the deadline for the SS4A. If
Yes.
we wanted to pursue any of these, we have to submit requests. So what's the process look like for that?
I'd have to talk more with our DC staff.
Okay.
It being a federal grant, I'm quite sure it's pretty lengthy. So the quicker we know if there's any of those projects that you want to go after, any of those strategies that you guys want to pursue, the better for us. That way we can relay that information to them and then start working on that process. It is an 80-20 grant, so you guys will have to come up with 20% of the match if you do want to partake in one of those. But I mean, I'm not afraid to work on it. We can get something going.
So the SS4A handout that you gave us, I appreciate that. Can you email that to us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And some of the people don't realize, name the counties that you're over for this 500,000 on the brownfields, please.
So this particular safety action plan covers Delaware, Grant, Blackford, and Jay counties. And each of those counties has a similar top 10 list, just like that.
Very good. Any questions?
I'm good. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the update, and come back sometime.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay. The Cumulative Capital Development Fund, who's going to speak on that? Scott?
We should have Mr. Scott Finley here
There
from
he is.
Baker Tilly. Thank you.
So my name is Scott Finley. I'm with Baker Tilly, and as you may know, Baker Tilly is working with the county on a fiscal sustainability plan, basically a long-term outlook of the finances of the county. During that process, we had identified that the Delaware County does not have a cumulative capital development fund. I don't have exact numbers, but Delaware County would be one of the very few that does not have that CCD fund. So wanted to just give kind of a brief outline of what that CCD fund is, how it's established, what it can be used for. So the Cumulative Capital Development Fund, I'm going to say CCD because I will get tongue-tied every time I try to say that. The CCD fund, it is a property tax supported fund authorized by statute. It allows counties to accumulate revenue to do capital projects, capital improvements, and it does help reduce the need for issuing debt for those larger capital projects. So unlike a municipality, the county does have a little more restrictions. Unlike a town, a county does have quite a few more restrictions. So it cannot be used for any operating. It has to be used for those capital expenditures. So that can be things, construction projects, constructing buildings, infrastructure, roads, any public work projects. It can also be used for vehicles. A lot of counties use it for like their IT system maintenance. It can also be used for any repairs and maintenance of county owned properties. So to establish that process, if this is something that the county wanted to go through with, there are quite a few steps that go along with it, and we are coming up to that deadline, so it would be something that would have to be turned around relatively quickly. So to start the process, there would be a notice to taxpayers that is put in the newspaper or newspapers that's advertised 2 times a week, 2 times 1 week apart. After that is published, you would then hold a public hearing. But the commissioners would hold a public hearing on the establishment of that Cumulative Capital Development Fund. Then you would go through the process of adopting an ordinance that would approve the rate. That can be done at the same meeting as the public hearing. After that is approved, if you were to move forward with it, you would then have another notice in the paper called a Notice of Adoption. This would be sent to the papers. This kicks off a 30-day remonstrance period where the citizens within the county can remonstrate against that to the county. After all of that is done, we then receive a notice from the county of no remonstrance that then goes to the DLGF and everything is put in place for implementation for the 2027 budget. So that's when you would start drawing those funds. So the impact that this would have on a homestead property, so this CCD is outside of your maximum levy, but it's not like a referendum. It's still subject to those property tax caps, the circuit breakers, as they've been called in the past, but there are some other, with the new legislation, some other property tax credits that go along with that as well. So in the first, it would be a phase-in because it's county. So the first year it would be 0.0167 would be the rate. And then for the second year and all subsequent years, it would be 0.0333. So the estimated impact on that, we looked up what the average residential home was in Delaware County, just based on Zillow and Redfin, and it was about $165,000. So again, the CCD fund, once it's up to the 0.033, would be about a $55 annual impact on that type of property. Again, to note, that is still subject to the circuit breaker credits and the property tax credits. So users who are close to that property tax cap may not see that full increase of $55. It may come in as circuit breaker losses. Where you're most likely going to see that revenue draw from is going to be your 2% properties. So your residential rentals, or your long-term care facilities, industrials, commercial properties like that. That's probably where the revenue is actually going to come from more if these properties start hitting the circuit breaker credits. So with that, a couple of considerations for this. Again, it provides a stable funding source for these capital projects and can help reduce the reliance on long-term debt like bonds and things. Again, it is subject to the property tax revenue losses. And it does require a lot of transparency between the commission and the taxpayers with all of the public notices, public hearings, and adoptions. So the next 2 pages that I've given you are a couple of proposed timelines that would be possible to meet this deadline. It's important to note that you'll notice some of these things towards the bottom are past the May 31st deadline. The remonstrance period can cross over that May 31st deadline, but everything else would have to be submitted by May 31st. So if you were to look at the Monday, May 18th, if you were to look at that date, I believe that's one of your commissioners' meetings. We could get everything submitted to the DLGF by May 29th, except for the remonstrance, which would then be submitted June 29th after everything was completed. The other one is a little bit quicker. That one would be at the commissioners' meeting on May the 4th. If we were to do that, we could get everything submitted by May 15th, except for the remonstrance, which would be June 15th. So with that, happy to answer any questions that you may have on the establishment of that CCD fund, or any comments you may have.
What kind of impact would this have on the general fund?
The general fund, it would have no impact unless you were pulling capital expenditures from the general fund. So if you have things that you're paying from the general fund now that are included in that capital, you could move those to the CCD fund, and there could be an impact there. So if you had, I'm not exactly sure what this would generate off the top of my head, but if you had, 500,000 in capital expenditures in the general fund that are eligible for use in the CCD fund, you could remove some of that from the general fund.
So right now, there's very, we have not a lot of money spent out of the general fund for capital improvements. It's all spent from edit, and also DCRC spends out of TIF. So there is no capital fund. All the bridges and everything get paid for either, if it's not federal grants or anything, we paid for some capital expenses out of ARP. Obviously, at the end of this year, ARP goes away, so that money's gone. The county does need to do something to establish a capital expense account, because at some point, some of this money's going away.
Well, you mentioned edit, so, and you also mentioned the general fund. There's very little money in the general fund for building maintenance, which has largely been deferred for quite a while. And we've enhanced our edit plan to pay for building and ground improvements. This building specifically needs quite a bit, and we've commissioned a study for this building that we should be seeing the results of that study here, hopefully within a month or so. But it's going to be in the millions of dollars to bring this building up to speed as it relates to boilers and chillers and HVAC and all those things. So additionally, the local income tax law changed, and it got pushed out 1 year from 28 to 29, but eventually edit as a standalone local income tax won't exist anymore. All that local income tax will go to the county council, and it won't be available directly to the county commissioners anymore. So without edit, without ARP, I don't know how you repair buildings. So I agree, something has to be done. Otherwise, we won't be able to repair buildings.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking of when you ask about the general fund impact, if you don't have a lot of capital that's coming from general, it's possible that you might have capital coming from some other funds, and you could move the capital to the CCD fund and then move some of the operating to some of those other funds that have a little more flexibility in their uses. And I apologize. I don't have the exact amount that will be generated. I can get it to you before I leave because I have it on my computer. I just forgot to pull that up, but I do have the amount, the estimated amount that will be generated at the 0.033 rate.
I'd like to know, if you don't mind, before you leave.
Yep, I'll pull that out and get it to you before I leave.
I believe it's about 1.3 million at full rate, provided that caps didn't come into place.
Right.
Yeah. That was from.
And it would just be the estimated net assessed value
I
times
understand.
that 0.0333 divided by 100 would end up giving you but I will give you that for sure before I leave.
Well, we had talked about this a few years ago, needing something, and we failed, so it is time to do something. And we do have a Cum bridge that we use, but nothing for, like you say, for the buildings.
So if you guys do want to proceed, we can obviously help you with the process of getting those notices. We have templates that don't take very long to put together, so we can assist with that definitely.
And you're right, we do have Cum Bridge, but Cum Bridge doesn't we don't make enough to pay for
Oh, it's
all the bridges and everything we need to pay
yeah,
for.
very small.
And we can't fix buildings with that.
Right, but I'm saying it's time that we do.
So the decision in front of us today is twofold, the way I see it, whether to move forward or not. If we do decide to move forward, we need to pick a timeline.
Yes. So again, either one of these timelines will work. If we go with the shorter one, which would be a public hearing on May 18th, we would need to get the first publication to the newspapers by Friday, May 8th. So there is a little bit of lag time getting the notice to the papers, and assuming we can get with Ed on how when the newspapers, I don't know if they publish those notices every day. Sometimes they only publish them on certain days. So we just want to make sure that we're hitting those deadlines based on the newspaper schedule as well.
I personally like the slower timeline that still meets the date because it gives people more time to understand it and weigh in and ask questions. It's my personal opinion.
Sure.
You're talking about the April to June?
The one that starts with April 21st, which we've done that portion, and ends June 15th. The other one would,
The later one starts.
no, the later one starts May 1st and ends June 29th.
Yep.
Yes,
So
sorry.
that would be the commissioners meeting May 18th, would be
Right.
when the actual public hearing and adoption would take place.
Very good.
I feel like we need to move forward.
Yeah, it's, yeah,
I'd make a motion to move forward with the proposed start date of May 1st, 2026, and the proposed ending date, which is where Baker Tilly would submit the certificate of no objection to the DLGF ending on June 29th.
Second.
roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. The ALS,
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Brand.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Madam
Brand.
President. I had an email come from a citizen of Delaware County who's dealing with ALS, sent some information and requested that the county recognize ALS. So we put together a proclamation recognizing May of 2026 as ALS Awareness Month. And I'll read it here for the record. Whereas amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive and terminal neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord, leading to loss of muscle control, mobility, speech, and eventually the ability to breathe. And whereas ALS impacts not only those diagnosed, but also their families, caregivers, and communities, placing significant emotional, physical, and financial burden on those involved. And whereas there is currently no cure for ALS, and increased awareness is essential to advancing research, improving care, and supporting those affected by the devastating disease. And whereas organizations such as the ALS Association provide critical services including care, support, equipment, advocacy, and funding for research helping to improve quality of life for individuals living with ALS. And whereas raising public awareness fosters greater understanding, compassion, and community support for individuals and families facing ALS. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize the courage and resilience of those living with ALS, as well as the dedication of their families, caregivers, healthcare professionals, and advocates. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the Delaware County Board of Commissioners hereby recognizes the month of May 2026 as ALS Awareness Month in Delaware County, and be it further proclaimed that we encourage all residents to learn more about ALS, to support individuals and families affected by the disease, and to participate in efforts to advance awareness, care, and research. I'd make a motion to approve this proclamation.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you. Now we have some partials that we can give to the trustee. Is anybody here today for the
Yeah.
trustee?
I know Kay was originally supposed to be here, but she woke up not feeling well, so if you could state your name and your position, thanks.
I'm Lindsay Campbell. I'm the deputy trustee at the Center Township Trustee's Office. First of all, I know she had emailed maps. Do you guys have those printed, or I made copies if you do
We
not?
were given,
Okay,
yes.
great. The Center Township Trustee's Office is interested in 2 parcels located north and across the alley from our office and shelter at 1200 and 1218 East Main in order to build a storage building. See, and then on the attached map, you can see 113 North Ohio Street. The parcel ID is 1104570160000, currently owned by the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. 117 North Ohio Street, parcel ID 1104570150000, is owned by Amanda and Wanda Richardson. Premier Label at 1205 East Washington is the adjacent property owner to both parcels. Kay has communicated with them our desire to acquire the parcels for purposes of constructing a storage building. This building will serve not only our office, but our homeless shelter next door. They're not interested in these parcels and they fully support our efforts. On behalf of the Center Township Board of Trustees, I'm offering to purchase the deed for 113 North Ohio Street for $1,000. This property was offered for sale at the April 14th deed sale, and it did not sell. Per Cami Mitchell in the auditor's office, 117 North Ohio Street has gone unsold in the last 3 tax sales. It is Kay's understanding that the commissioners cannot assign that certificate to Center Township Board of Trustees because we're not a city or a town, we're not a redevelopment commission or a nonprofit. The MRC has agreed at their meeting to request this tax sale certificate from the commissioners, and then they will then appoint that to us, and we will perfect the deed for that property. Since it opened on December 1st, our shelter has hosted 13 homeless families. And as you can see from the attached map, there's no space for storage on our property or that property. Acquisition of these lots will allow us to better serve our clients in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John, what's the correct process for this?
You can assign the one property that's owned by the county, you can assign that to the redevelopment commission and they can pass it on. And we would have to get the other property into the name of the county. We could probably do that the same way that we get deeds for the deed sale. File a suit to give them notice and get a title search and do all that. We'd have to get it out of the name of whoever the owner is now.
And then once it's in the name of the county, we would also then have to make a move similar to 117 and
Yes.
give it to the MRC
Yes,
Okay, so it'd be the same. MRC would have to then
Right.
assign that to us as well.
eventually.
Okay,
We have to get it in our name first. The
Okay.
113's not in our name.
right.
113 is, 117 is not.
117's not right.
I'm sorry,
Right.
117's not in our name.
I'd like to move forward. I think they're doing good things there with the shelter, and I'd like to move forward with this.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes,
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, now we have contracts. Superintendent. Thomas, please.
First contract here is for it's for a permanent easement out of Bridge 103 from Robert D. Irk for $1,550. This piece of property is on the northwest corner of that bridge, and this would give the county rights, permanent rights to maintain our infrastructure, drainage included. And it's already been signed by them, just needs approved and signed by the commissioners.
Motion to approve the perpetual highway easement for Robert Irk property.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. The next one also.
Then the next one, this is on the northeast corner of Bridge 103, from Miss Patsy M. Venator. One is a permanent easement, the other one is a temporary construction easement. The permanent easement would allow for continued maintenance of the facilities. Temporary is just for enduring construction. So the permanent easement is for $925. The temporary one is for $25, and the owner has already signed and approved everything on their end. So it's purely just a matter of the commissioners approving and signing on their end.
I'll make a motion, we approve the request.
I'll second it, but I have a quick question. If you compare the two documents, the first one for Mr. Irk, on the second page, there's a paragraph at the top before you get to the grantee, grantor paragraphs. On the one for Miss Venator, that paragraph doesn't exist. So I'm not certain if there's a paragraph missing or if the Irk paragraph is there because he is the surviving spouse of the owner. So anyway, I seconded it. I want to approve it, but I would, understanding that if there's a paragraph to be added to the Patsy Venator one, that it get added.
Yep, we will confirm, and if those additions need added, we'll add and let you know that they work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Or, you make a
Yeah, I made a motion.
roll
Yep.
call, please.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
For the record, I looked at these, I remember looking at these, that language for Mr. Irk is what we call survivorship language, showing that they were married because they owned it as husband and wife and that he survived her. So it's necessary a part of his deed, but wouldn't be for the other one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Mrs. Dunsmore, Pitney Ship Cube purchase agreement.
Hi, good morning. Tanya Dunsmore, Delaware County Auditor, Chief Deputy. I am just making you aware that we did purchase a Pitney Ship Cube, which this will hook up to the desktop in the mailroom for Mike, who works in the mailroom, and he'll be able to configure the mail machine from his desktop rather than having to do it on the machine. And then it also weighs items, and he can also mail large items by using that, which hopefully in the future will save us money on those larger items. And it is $399.99 to purchase, and then there is a $72 a year annual fee, and that is for the service like the software.
This gives us two of these ship cubes, right? There's one
Yeah.
in the clerk's office.
Well, the one in the clerk's office is already there and been in use for years, but they felt it was probably best to keep that there for the use of what they use it for, because they do a lot of certified mail, et cetera, there. So this will put the new one then in the mailroom.
Gotcha. It's a duplicate, it's the same thing that's
Oh,
already in the
yes.
clerk's office.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a shipping, $32 for shipping. I came up with total $471.99.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was
It's-
just looking
it's
at
on
the
the back.
invoice, and I did not see a shipping
They had it hid
cost.
kind of.
Okay.
So what's your pleasure, please?
I make a motion, we approve.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Seal quoting, quote, please.
Yes, Don Chambers, Delaware County Superintendent. I hear in the front, I got a quote the other day from, for the seal coat the front half of the building. It's looking pretty bad, and redo the handicap parking spots, maybe trying to get more if we possibly can. And also unloading and loading zone in the front for like the paper shred guy. Quote altogether, he's gonna restriping and seal coating the front half of this drive. Total altogether is gonna be right around $6,042. So I'm just trying to get it to where it's in decent shape and looks better. And we've got the new, we call it the bumper stops for the front. We got, they're rubber with, white striping on it. We just, I'm gonna work with Tommy on trying to get those removed, and then we'll put the new ones down ourselves.
Yeah. Now, one thing I don't see on here is a van,
Well, there is a van spot out there,
and
but
they take a little bit more room, so,
it does need more room, because when we had our 88 inspection, we did fill that part of it.
so I just don't know if we could add any more. But,
I mean, that's something we can deal with at that time when he's here, so.
So we have to get this vendor set up with the auditor's office.
I'd have to get it set up then, but I just wanted to inform you that I didn't know if you want to go through the one bid, or do you want more bids, or?
Where's this bid from?
This bid is from
Hubbard's and Son?
Charles Hubbard. He's out of Wabash, but there is local people that here do it here.
I would request you find some local bids.
Okay, I have no issues with
I agree.
that.
thank
Okay,
you.
all right, thanks.
Okay. Oh. Valves. Sorry about that.
We just had a lot of work done here last weekend, or the past weekend before, changing out, trying to get all our valves and everything changed out to up to date to make everything work where everything's not working. But part of that scope of the job was not fixing the VAV boxes that aren't working. There's 10 of them that are still not currently working. Their quote for that there to make it everything up and working is $13,155, and that'll make everything up to date and new as possible for heat and air. There's some areas that's not getting air now, and there was some areas that's not getting heat at all.
Yes, I understand you found some surprises there.
And it's old. It's 1968, so we're trying to
Yeah.
put a Band-Aid on everything, I guess.
So this is part of the larger building control system that we approved earlier or last year to finish out the second and the third
This is an
floor.
additional to that
Yeah.
that they found.
Yeah, they found this afterwards, after
And,
that proposal.
and what it looks like is these VAV boxes probably developed leaks at some time in the past, and they were bypassed. They were just shut off instead of repaired.
Yeah,
And there's
and
no
one
way,
of them has never been hooked up.
yeah, there's no way you could have known that without doing the work that was
Yeah.
already done and then
Right.
energizing the system, so to speak.
I make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes, thank you, Don.
All right, thanks.
Okay, security system upgrade. S8S. We're still bringing some reading, thank you. Yeah, problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does she have a copy? Yeah, she should have a copy.
Good morning. I'm Trisha Werner with Security Automation Systems. I'm here to talk about the Justice Center. So Security Automation Systems is a security integrator for jails and prisons. We're based on the north side of Indianapolis, approximately 45 minutes from the Justice Center here. We have our system in almost every county jail here in Indiana, and we have our system in every Indiana prison. The next portion of this is issues that the current justice facility is experiencing. So it's kind of broken down between systems. We've got the intercom system and their frequent failures of the master intercom station and the control components. They've had multiple replacements required persistently having trouble. Some intercom stations were found to not even have wiring attached to it. And the facility received little technical support on the system. It's a digital and hybrid system that they currently have. The staff also received no training on the system. No complete operation manuals or information such as as-builts were given to them when the project was closed out. Their video system, initially they only received approximately 30 days of video storage, which in Indiana it's 180 days required, so it was below standards. Additional storage was needed for that. Again, staff were not given information on the system, so the passwords that are required for the system, they don't have access to. And again, staff are not trained on the system. When they do call for service and assistance, they basically have to wait long periods of time, or even when they do send someone to assist them, they either don't fix the system or just verbally tell them how to fix the system. The next thing is the access control system, another component of the system, again, that they're having issues with. So this system has low frequency readers, which is basically obsolete technology. And it does have security impacts on the facility that I didn't want to address publicly. So there's significant concerns regarding the building security in the system. The county often has to reset that system, which isn't acceptable considering the critical security system of a jail. The next thing is that particular vendor, they gave them a service agreement in excess of $50,000, which didn't even include service calls. The county staff expressed frustration at paying substantial fees while still being charged per visit and denied any hands-on repairs. So Don was up here speaking. He obviously is the maintenance, so he had stated that service calls cost between $2,500 and $3,500 or more, even when the current vendor's technicians come on site and they only identify the issues and don't actually fix them. So the county maintenance ultimately has to resolve these issues. They lack spare parts, documentation, and again, system transparency, information on the system. They have ongoing door and access control reliability problems since it was installed. So given these discussions with the sheriff's office, we have looked at the system and provided them with a quote and recommendations on what to do. We tried to keep the cost down by reusing equipment if feasible and in good working condition. Otherwise, we made the suggestion to replace it. Again, this is based on either equipment issues themselves, such as the hybrid intercom system having numerous issues requiring costly service, and the product itself poses an issue, such as the low security access control system. So I've got attached the proposal 26-156 dated April 8th for your review. So in conclusion, the equipment we're proposing and the base of the work is what we do on all our projects. We use this equipment because we know it works. We have our system in hundreds of jails across Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, and Kentucky. And we do not require service contracts. We have 24/7, 365 service for the facility. And they can use it on a time and material basis, or we can tailor a service agreement for them. So as you know, SAS worked on the original jail that was downtown. We upgraded the system in 2009, and we supported them all the way through until the new Justice Center was constructed. Given the dynamics of that it was a build, operate, transfer, we were not invited to bid on that system, and that is why our system is not currently in the facility. So I open it up to questions if you have questions about the attached proposal or
What is the length of time on the storage of the video?
on their current system or
On the proposed system?
so
The
the-
proposed system is a year.
Okay, good. I know the existing one creates problems because tort claims have to be filed within 180 days, and sometimes we have video, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. When the jail was being built, and I don't know, is Tony still in here?
Waiting to
And
speak.
Jeff too. When the jail was being built, we brought the concern up with our QAW and BW construction. Did we not bring that up? There was conversation about the security system that was getting used, correct?
I can't verify whether the commissioners brought that up or not. I know that once I was elected, the project had started prior to my election. The construction hadn't, but
Yeah.
the plans had, and we made it quite vocal that we wanted SAS.
It was brought up.
Right,
I
it was.
I remember it. It was brought up.
Yes, it was. I remember that.
And if I remember correctly, the engineering company said, well, this is the company we use, and they've been a good company, and this and that. But there were several concerns brought up about this. And we brought this up. So I guess what I'm saying is, if that particular engineering company is not going to listen to what we're saying and listen to our concerns, why do we continue to use them? That's my question.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is 700, so
Yeah.
we're $700,000.
Yeah, that is a good point.
It is a good point. They shouldn't be used anymore. We brought the concern up, and it's been an issue ever since you guys have been out there, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of us spending money with these people. I've had it. We need to take them off the list.
Yeah.
I want to correct the issue. I don't know how to do it.
Right.
So I got involved with this probably last September, October. Some concerns came up. We've had multiple meetings with SAS. I've personally tried to reach out to Accurate Controls. That's the company that has their system installed there. They won't even respond to me. We don't have passwords. We don't have trainings. We don't have as-builts. We don't have manuals. Maintenance is handicapped. Every time we call, they have to come out of Wisconsin. They won't dispatch without a purchase order ahead of time to cover their travel. Now, to your point, Commissioner Henry, I don't know that this has been raised with BW.
It's been raised.
This has
Been
Okay.
This was raised. This has been talked about for a long time. It has been. John, has it not?
I remember having this discussion, and
We've talked about this numerous times. So I don't want to hear that, because I'm sick of that.
I haven't personally talked to BW
Okay, I
about it.
understand, but it has been talked about.
Gotcha. So
because I raised the issue about how long the video would be stored because of that.
There was-
the
there-
tort claims notice.
Yep, there was those issues.
Yeah. But I do like this new system here. I'm willing to give them a try, because,
Well, I mean, so there are a couple things here. It's, Commissioner Henry's right, $735,665. There are a couple potential deducts. We could reuse the Bosch video recording system that's there today, and we would still have the year, if we reuse the Bosch recording system.
If you reuse the Bosch, you get whatever you're currently getting.
We don't get the year.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the current story is.
Yeah, we don't know because we don't have the
yeah.
information from Accurate. So that would be $108,610 deduct, bringing the total to $627,055. And then if we continue to stay with the current card access system, that'd be another $104,245 deduct. And the rest, the video and all the storage and all that stuff would still be good. This is just door access control.
That's for just the card access.
Gotcha. So that'd be $104,245 deduct, bringing the total to $522,000 some odd dollars.
I don't think we should do that, though.
I don't either.
I mean, I think if we're going to do it, Yeah, we need to replace that whole system,
That's what I was wondering.
so I don't get mad at some other meeting.
So should we formally put BW on notice?
I'm ready to do that.
Yeah.
I'm,
I was
I'm telling
wondering-
you that this has come up, and I'm tired of
Yeah,
things falling on deaf ears. There's been several issues out there that's come up.
Gotcha.
So, is there a lease option?
yeah. It's very
Yeah.
costly though.
It is.
Ends
It's,
up
there's a
about
base 36
$800,000.
month lease, $22,086.15
Oh, I'm sorry, I
per
didn't
month,
see it. Yep.
and a 60-month lease of $13,868.80.
And that's even worse.
I think we get more interest than what that lease rate would be, so might not make a lot of sense.
I would agree with Commissioner Henry that do it all. But pay for it.
Well, we need to
Edit.
redo our edit
Edit,
plan.
yeah.
Right, we're in the process of that. It would have to come out
It'd have to come out of edit.
of edit. We just got done talking about there's not money in the general fund to pay for things such as this.
Sheriff Skinner might want to give us a recommendation how soon.
No, I definitely recommend SAS for this project. Something needs to be done. It's been a problem with the accurate system for years. Like Trish said, we had SAS at the old jail, and they were wonderful. They responded quickly to issues. A lot of times it was a phone call, and Captain Dye would, he reports that they would walk us through the problem on the phone. They didn't even have to respond a lot of times. Another thing that wasn't brought up is a lot of the things with Accurate, they're proprietary. You can't even go out and buy something to replace it if we knew how. So Shannon or Sherry, you guys might remember the commissioner spent a few $100,000 just a couple of years before the new jail project on the SAS equipment. There was an upgrade or something. I don't remember. I wasn't the sheriff at the time. Part of the stipulation for that purchase was that, hey, is this movable when we do a new project? And yeah, that's why you spent the money, because you knew that it was movable. So we had a good partnership with SAS before. I fully support it. As far as the paying for it, I that's on you. I don't know,
Yeah.
but something does need to be done.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Well, I'm gonna contact BW, and I know they've been contacted before. That's who's doing the assessment on this building right now, is BW.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah.
That's
what-
my point.
Yep.
That's what we're saying. Yeah.
I want to move forward with this.
Okay.
And we'll just
That's your
have
motion?
we have to find the money. And I think we can.
Well, we have money in the edit carryover. It's not in our current edit plan, so we would have to
Understand.
amend our current edit plan,
Right.
project
And-
number
and-
12.
Yeah, we're working on that. I'm going to make an motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you.
That's
Right.
for the, just to be clear, that's for the entire amount, 735, 665.
Correct.
Nice. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming. Farm lease agreement, I believe.
I don't quite understand what,
Well, it's a request for.
So this
proposal.
came up, I believe, when Danielle was meeting with Tracy Lutton from the Greater Muncie Economic Development Corporation. This is the 97 acres where it's the old Delco battery,
Correct.
and that property is being held by GMEDC, and they cash rent somewhere around 60 acres, 64 acres are tillable. And the board of directors for that Greater Muncie Economic Development Corporation put out an RFP and almost doubled the amount of cash rent that they were getting. Now it's up to $210 an acre for the 64 acres. So, Mr. Brook, I'm assuming Danielle thought it was necessary for this contract to come in front of the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether we need to take action on this or not. It was already approved at the Chamber of Commerce Board and by the Greater Muncie Economic Development Corporation Board.
Yes, they are the owners of the property, so they would have control over that.
And they already approved it.
Right. But I don't know why this would come to the commissioners.
Okay. I recommend we table this and maybe we find out from Danielle why her and Tracy thought it was necessary to be on the agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes, thank you. Okay, letter of support for the AEDO program.
Thank you, Madam President. So the International Economic Development Council has an accredited economic development program, and the one here in Delaware County, which is now the Greater Muncie Economic Development Corporation, is the oldest continual accredited organization in the United States, and they have asked for a letter of recommendation. Every couple of years they have to go through a re-accreditation program, and that is what is before us today, is a proposed support letter to get the Greater Muncie Economic Development Corporation re-accredited.
I make a motion, we sign the letter.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Jarvis is here.
Morning,
Health
Josh
plan.
Jarvis, Delaware County Human Resources. This is actually pretty simple. This is the, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Recuro, R-E-C-U-R-O. This was on our ID cards that got revised, and this is just an added benefit as far as like telehealth, with I-360, and we already have this service through our marathon service. So it's about $1.95 per person for the service, so we just need to get this signed and removed.
So this basically removes the telehealth contact information from our healthcare ID cards because we're now with a new company.
Correct.
Yeah. And this, if we approve this today, we'd be authorizing Mr. Jarvis to sign this.
I make a motion, we approve the amendment.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no first readings, ordinance for second reading, 2026-06. Kylene, or Miss Kathy's here. Didn't know who was going to be speaking. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Kathy Van Eysen. I'm from Ashton Land Surveyor here in Muncie. We have some parcels of land that are at 501 through 615 North Norwood Drive that current county zoning is a little messed up. We have some of them that are in R5 and the others that are in R2. We're seeking to have all of the duplexes switched into the R5 zone, and the farmland or the parcel that's behind it that is vacant land go back to the R2. The piece on the west would be about 7 acres, but all of the other pieces we will be going through and having to plat because we're going to have shared wells and be able to make these more in compliance with the county code. That's the whole goal. So we do have approval, thank you, from the plat. Well,
The Planning Commission made a
Planning Commission,
unanimous
excuse me,
favorable
yeah.
recommendation. Yeah. And there's a new owner of these properties, and they're going to go
yes,
through
it's a
and
brand new owner who
remodel
has
them.
evicted almost all but one as of the last meeting, trying to bring these up to standards with all new interior, all new, bringing them up to date.
Yeah, and there was somebody that spoke against this at the Planning Commission meeting, a farmer landowner that has a flooding problem, but it's unrelated to this, and approving this won't affect that flooding problem one way or the other.
Very good.
I make a motion, we adopt ordinance 2026-06.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes,
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
thank you.
Resolution number 2026-03. Countywide internal controls. I believe. Who wants to speak on this behalf?
I'll speak in reference to this. Essentially, what this is, we're requesting the commissioners to consider passing this resolution. It's got to do with the internal controls, adopting the purchasing of and using purchase orders so that claims could be filed with our office. It also includes two different people when they do request a purchase order. One person would request, one would approve before it comes to our office, so that one person doesn't have total control of those funds. And it follow with the process all the way through to actually cutting the checks. So we're going to be moving the printing of checks from the IT group to our office. I already checked with State Board of Accounts, and they said there was no issue with that.
At the monthly staff meeting, we had an all skate, and department heads and elected office holders came in, and this was presented by Lexi out of your office. She did a tremendous job. She did a really good job of answering all the questions. Mr. Brook, you were going to review these, and maybe you had some comments or recommendations.
Yes, I wanted to, if we could just table this one, I wanted to check with the current internal controls policy that we have and make sure that they're all consistent. I think they are, but I just want to double check that.
Sounds fair?
When did, it seems like we passed another internal control resolution at some point.
Done a couple that I'm aware of in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to double check that. Maybe we just consolidate and create a new one, just to bring them all together, because they come at different times.
I know that codification process is in process right now, and that would probably surface some of that, but adding this to it, the codification process we're going through wouldn't capture this.
Well, it's my intention that it will once we adopt.
Okay. We definitely need something. We have to make some improvements to our separation of duties and checks and balances.
I agree with the double signature for purchasing. We also need the double signature for payroll. There's a lot of double signatures.
Much pleasure now.
Well, should payroll be included in this?
I do recall that was discussed also at the staff meeting, was payroll.
It was, but I want to make sure. I want to make sure that's in this resolution.
Okay. That.
So are we wanting 2 signatures on every transaction then?
I want it on, you're wanting, this is the thing, I want 2 signatures on payroll approval.
Right.
Okay?
But there's other things that goes beyond that.
Well, you're talking about purchasing with this resolution.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm just trying to clarify what.
I want to make sure, if I'm okay with purchasing, I don't think there's anything wrong with 2 people approving purchasing. I want to make sure we have 2 people on payroll that approve payroll. That's what we talked about in the meeting, and that needs added to this.
I can add that.
The definition of signature will have to be clarified too, because in purchasing, a signature could be the electronic approval level. So if we establish a workflow in VIP, somebody enters it, somebody approves it, that second one could be the signature.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then once payroll goes into a system, the electronic approval could be the signature.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Just want to make sure
So
that
it
we're
has
not
to be
looking
two people look at it, is
Approving.
my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. How that, you're right. It may not be a signature, but
Right.
there's got to be an
approval level.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can build those workflows in VIP to require those levels of approval. And then if it's not approved, somebody has a question, they could do an RFI and send it back to the previous level for clarification.
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
Can we make sure that one of those signature approvals is a department head, not just two employees? We need to make sure that the department head is accountable for their department as well.
Yep.
Is that all
Yeah,
right?
it should be one of them.
That's what
I'm just making sure that that's on there, that it is. It's not just two the other two people that are not department heads. The department head needs to be held accountable for that.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
If I may add to that, Tanya Dunsmore, Delaware County Chief Deputy Auditor. I think there are instances, though, when the department head leaves a certain person in charge of doing something for them when they go on vacation. So I think that's up to the elected official and department head to, I guess, authorize rather than
Yeah,
saying that it has to
maybe
be
their elected official or designee. Right. Yeah.
something like that.
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we discussed that in the staff meeting, then that should be the exception though, not the rule, right? So if the elected
agree with
official,
that,
right, okay,
But I think the exception should be
for sure. Yep.
detailed.
I agree.
Thank you.
I don't want to start a comment train here, but I think it's safe to say that every person doing payroll is already a designee, and I don't want to be forced to have to sign something every 2 weeks, me personally. So I don't think the idea of a department head or an elected official having to be the person that approves or signs, because I already have people doing that, I think that's a bad idea. Just saying.
So right now in the sheriff's department, you have one person processing payroll.
So with us for payroll, I think that we're considerably different than other county departments, because when a correction officer or a deputy, for their pay sheet, if they turn in overtime or something, it goes to the supervisor, the corporal or the sergeant. They have to approve it. Then it goes to the captain or whoever in the jail is responsible for overseeing the supervisors. Then, from then, it goes to the office manager or Lieutenant Bashir up. And so we've got 3 levels of checks and balances already. The only person that isn't is our office manager. I'm totally fine with that person, their work for them specifically, but for everybody else in our department, it already goes through 3 levels. It already does. That's why we're different than other entities, because we're so large. I can understand an office that has 6 people. It can't go through 3 levels before it gets approved, but for us, it already does. And I shouldn't have to be required every 2 weeks to look at everyone and sign off on them.
Appreciate the explanation.
Thank you.
So right now, the recommendation from legal is to table this while they look at the other.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you. Resolution 2026-04. Establishing a countywide internal controls for centralized mail and postage processing. Who wants to speak on this behalf?
I could speak again. So essentially, we set up the Pitney Bowes machine, and most of the departments are using it on a daily basis. I think there are still some that may not. But the goal here is to have everything go through that post machine, because we get like a 7% discount.
So in some cases, some offices still buy and use stamps.
Correct.
This came up during budget. And some of those offices that still use stamps defended it, right?
Those departments that have offices outside the Justice Center of the county building, do they have access to the machine? Would they have to bring their mail up to the Justice Center of the county building to process it out? Something like the health department, the highway department?
So currently, Mike Jones goes around to the locations and picks up the mail.
Yeah, he picks it
And
up.
brings
I-
back to Justice Center, so. He could include that on his route to pick them up if that's needed, I would think.
I'll be honest, I was not aware that we were still buying stamps. I thought everybody,
How many stamps are we buying, do you know? How much stamps
I
are we
don't,
buying?
well, it's hard to say. I mean, we can figure it out, but it's largely purchased with credit cards, so now we've got to dig into all the receipts. That's a different issue for another time, but that's really typically purchased.
that's where you can find them.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah.
I can't remember the specific arguments from the budget on why those departments still insisted on using stamps. And during the budget discussions, the council accepted the argument that, because even though they could run it through the mail and cost the taxpayers less money to mail something, they were still defending the ability to use stamps. I can't remember why.
Tanya Dunsmore, Chief Deputy Auditor. I'm just going back to when we were discussing the Pitney Bowes and such, and what I remember from that. I did send out an email to the offices asking, do you still use stamps? If so, how many do you use? And it's very little. When I say little, I mean some departments maybe like 50 stamps, for the year. I think that's why they were still using it. I did have one office state that they would like to finish out what they have purchased, because it's not like you can take your stamps back and return them. So they would like to finish out what they were using before they started using the mailroom process. So, but I think as far as just amounts that they use, I mean, we have some that was like 20, some were 50, maybe 100. But the offices that were still using stamps, it was a small amount like that.
Yeah, thank you.
I make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second it, but please add what Ms. Dunsmore just said, to require the departments that have already purchased stamps to consume all their stamps prior to switching over.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you.
Would you like me to add a section to the resolution that allows them to use the stamps that exist? And that they would then have to follow this?
Correct.
I can make.
Amendment to it.
I could draft that and add that to this resolution, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Brook, were you thinking about the resolution 2026-100
Yes.
be tabled?
Yeah, I was trying to understand what this was, tried to get on the link that was provided by the auditor. I couldn't get onto it, but then my computer skills aren't as great as somebody else's, so I was hoping that I can have an understanding about this so I can, and find out the will of the commissioners.
I couldn't get on it either.
So are we going to see a video today and have an explanation of this from the auditor's office?
We can, we're prepared to do that.
Why not?
Could we maybe take a break before we show it? So if people that want to leave,
Sure.
You want to take a 10-minute recess?
recess.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Thank you.
Back at 10:25.
10:25. Yeah. I didn't know he was Ball State professor. Or taught. Yeah. Oh, ahead of everybody. Okay. Point to him. Building, what's his title? Yeah. Welcome back to the Delaware County Commissioners' second half of Monday, April the 20th. Now 10:25 will continue. We're going to introduce Mr. Tom Fouch, our Buildings Commissioner.
Thank you. Tom Fouch, Delaware County Building Commissioner, Zoning Administrator. Brandy's handing something out to you guys, kind of on an emergency matter that we need to try to do something about right away. It's for 904 South Whitney Road. I've got an unsafe order on that structure. The health department also has an unfit order on that structure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've given you guys pictures and everything.
Gosh.
Last week, Jeremy with the health department went out with the sheriff's department. There are people living in this house. There's no running water. They would not answer the door, allow us to enter the facility. So what we are needing is that you guys could ask the county attorneys to be able to. We need a signed order from a judge to be able to go back out with the sheriff's department again to make entrance into the facility, the house, to make sure there's no children in there, different things like that. But we can't do that without an order.
Oh.
So you're looking for an administrative search warrant, in essence, be able to go into the house, conduct a search of the house.
Yes, basically something that will back the more of the unfit order from the health department, something that will back them and say that, yes, the judge backs that order.
All right, we can prepare that. If commissioners consent, we'll be happy to prepare that.
Okay.
Well, if they won't let us in and we can't verify if there are kids in the house, I think we
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one other thing, that way I can hit out.
Yeah.
We're having a really big issue all of a sudden that we are addressing one at a time. Just so the public knows, we do have a county ordinance on recreational vehicle. It's a recreational vehicle ordinance. Since they've shut the campgrounds down out at the reservoir, we're fine. They're just popping up everywhere. People are thinking that they can pull their trailers out on any piece of property and just start camping. You cannot do that. Our county ordinance reads out that any portable vehicle structure not built by the national manufacturer, housing, construction, and safety standards codes designed to provide temporary living quarters for recreational, camping, or travel use. These are intended for temporary residential use and shall be occupied only in an RV park. So they cannot be just, you cannot pull one out if you've got a vacant lot out around the reservoir. You cannot pull your camper out there and set up and start camping. That is against our county ordinance. So if the public has any questions about that ordinance, they can definitely call our office, and we'd be more than happy to talk to them about it.
What's that ordinance number?
I did not write that down. I
Okay.
will get it. I'll
Thank
text it to you, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Guys.
Yeah. Okay, now. Auditor Carol's going to tell us about the resolution 2026-100. We're going to see a video. Thank you.
The One Touch Initiative. We already know where the problems are. This initiative is how we fix them. Delaware County is taking a major step forward to protect taxpayer dollars and modernize how government works. Today, critical financial data is often entered multiple times across multiple systems, paper, spreadsheets, and emails. Every time data is re-entered, the opportunity for error or misuse increases. This is how control failures happen. Indiana law requires strong internal controls, accurate records, and full transparency. But outdated systems make that harder than it should be. The solution is the One Touch Initiative. Enter data once, and it flows everywhere it needs to go. On the left, messy workflow, multiple inputs and delays, and on the right, clean flow, automated connections, and real-time updates. This initiative modernizes every major financial function, from purchasing and payroll to grants and public transparency. By removing duplicate entry and disconnected systems, One Touch removes the opportunity for fraud before it happens. This resolution formally authorizes the One Touch Initiative as a corrective and preventive action. It does not authorize spending, only the framework to move forward responsibly. The result, stronger controls, better reporting, and reduced risk to taxpayer dollars. This is how Delaware County protects taxpayer dollars and moves forward. Support the One Touch Initiative for stronger county financial controls and accountability to protect the taxpayers.
Any questions?
Yeah, I still don't, we have every office in this county enters stuff in the system, right? So are you saying that your office is the only one going to be able to require that, or only going to be the one enter those required?
No, what we're reviewing is the process and how it's being entered. The departments would still be responsible doing their daily functions, entering data, et cetera. But instead of some departments enter the same data 5 or 6 times. And that costs money. And every time there's error, then we got to figure out which one of those 5 steps create the error. That costs even much lot more money. And we deal with that in our office on a daily basis when errors occur.
Let's talk about grants specific, because this resolution specifically says grants. Who's going to enter the information on the grants? Is that your
There's
office?
not going to be a change of who does what. Their jobs doesn't change. The duties, responsibilities don't change. It's reviewing the process and trying to streamline it so it's only entered once. Because if it's entered correctly on the front end, then we don't have to fix it on the back end. If that person on the front end enters incorrectly, we know where to go to because there's only one person entering the data.
I'd like to ask, what counties around here have had this that we could go visit?
Has this?
Yeah.
I think even our department, I mean, our county's been trying to implement a lot of these things. Move away from paper. We went from paper to PDF forms, and so we are trying to implement these things already. So a lot of it's already been started. What we're asking the commissioners to do is to support those efforts to eliminate those errors and reduce cost. And we already know we have a good idea of what some of the costs are looking backwards, what's the cost going to be going forward.
This reads more like a policy statement or a justification document. I believe we need to make some improvements. Entering the same data in multiple areas is prone for errors, and we definitely make errors. I have some ideas on how to improve this. I would like some time to provide that feedback.
I also had some questions about, I thought it was also a policy statement, and didn't quite understand what the one-touch system was. Now I've got a little better idea.
It's
But
sort of a code name, right?
Right, yes.
It's not an actual
It's just-
system
yes.
or an app or a software.
Right. It's just it's the initiative.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with this. I feel like all the department heads out here, they don't want people entering stuff 4 or 5 times either. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure why I'm not sure why you're presenting this, because I feel like.
So we don't, so we can look at systems to eliminate those needs to enter 4 and 5 times. I mean, our office, when we first took over Marissa, for example, we were manually going through every single person's benefits every month manually. Well, we've streamlined that, and we're using spreadsheets, and now we're getting ready to go towards even automating even further. And each time we do that, it takes less time, and it's more accurate. So what I'm proposing here is take a look at those offices and help them make that transition, and in some cases it may require a different system. In our case, we're using spreadsheets instead of paper.
Is this
I
a
don't-
software package, or
One touch is an initiative.
is it an initiative?
Correct.
There's no
software.
I asked that. There's no software to it,
So-
because that's what I thought it was at first, was a
That's
software.
what I'm kind of confused.
Yeah,
It's kind of like where you currently use VIP, and we're changing the workflow to require 2 signatures. We're changing it so that personas are created. We're trying to find things that are known issues and address them so that they're not problems. Because
Yeah.
these problems cost us money. And
Yeah.
If you want some numbers, you may not like it, but you're going to see some numbers that are fairly large.
Oh, I know a number that's really large right now that's,
That's just one of
yeah.
several.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, if we don't do any of these things, there's no guarantee that it won't happen again.
But I guess I don't feel like the resolution, there's nothing in this.
Well, we could say, like I said, we can do nothing.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is that there's no substance in this. I mean, there's a lot of language and a lot of, we want to make it so everybody only enters everything one time and all that. I get all that, but there's no substance in this. I mean,
To Commissioner Henry's point, I said I wanted to add some stuff, and just to give you an example of some of the things I want to add, I believe that we need to be clear on who's responsible for what by when. So responsibility needs identified, timing needs identified. We need to add some change management language, and I'll send all this to you, Ed. Training, I recommend that we bring this up at the next month's normal staff meeting. We could do an overall scape and have present it just like Lexi did. She did a fantastic job. I don't know if she'll be the one presenting this. And then maybe put together a small committee, so we can hear the department adoption expectations, find out what they're looking for. I'm all for standardizing the process and making our processes system and process driven, not people dependent. I think it's very critical, but I'm majorly in favor of a countywide financial and administrative system modernization for sure. So I think this is necessary, but I would like to provide some feedback. And I think it should come in front of all the department heads and elected office holders in the next staff meeting.
I guess that's my point. It needs, we need substance in it.
I always say there's a model out there that can be copied that's the best, so I'm gonna ask the Board of Accounts for some recommendations myself. Go visit. Because when we haven't been out in the other counties to see how they've improved things, we still keep doing them because we don't know any better. So I appreciate the idea, but we need some different points of view. So, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion to table.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Brand,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Now, we've on our 613 North Broadway.
We have the signed deed has been delivered to Albany.
Good.
She did not sign the agreement or the other document necessary to transfer property, so I'm gonna make a trip up to Albany either tonight or tomorrow night to get that signed. Okay?
You just probably want to go for ice cream up there.
Oh, I stop sometimes, I do, yes, I do.
Lots of choices up there.
But it's around the corner from my house, so.
That's good news. Highway Department contracts.
I think we're still working on this. We did receive some recommendations from the Highway Department. I believe County Engineer Mr. Thomas and County Attorney Mr. Brook are continuing to work on this. Remember, we took this initiative on when we were working on the right-of-way ordinance earlier that turned into the mailbox discussion. That wasn't the intent, so this is going to be more focused.
Okay, thank
I
you.
believe the work is ongoing.
All right, but there's a couple things that I'm working with Dean on. I just have to set up a time that we can get together.
Okay, very good. Township annual reports.
So my understanding is the annual report, you asked for more information. So my understanding is the annual reports were all filed properly. They're in DLGF, but hard copies were not all delivered to the county and to be able to be filed in auditor's office. And I think that those townships are being notified. 6 of the 11 filed with the auditor's office. The other 5 did not.
Do they have a deadline, Mr. Brook, they're supposed to be in?
That I don't know.
Okay. Now, standards and guidelines.
So you remember in the last meeting, Center Township, we approved their new standards and guidelines, which was mainly 2 tables, the guidelines from the federal government on income levels and then the amount of assistance. And I think that all townships should be updating their standards and guidelines. And to the best of our knowledge so far, 3 have. I think that's Center, Harrison, and Washington. I'm not saying the others haven't. We just don't have proof
Okay.
that they've updated those. And then, Madam President, you had said at the reason this all came up, you were wanting the townships to come and report
I just thought they'd like
to
to
the
come in,
commissioners.
you know,
I see. Are you planning to notify them?
no,
Okay.
not really. We could. And the ordinance 2013-20.
Just trying to keep this in front of us. This is the junk car ordinance, and then you just heard the building commissioner say that we have an RV ordinance, which
Yeah.
may go along with this, but he was asking for feedback on what they would like to be included in this, and I think Kylene may have an update.
Kylene Swackheimer, Plan Commission. So Tom Fouch, Building Commissioner, and I have talked about this. What we would like, we have a couple of comments ready, but we would like to have a discussion with the commissioners, someone from the Sheriff's Department if possible, and possibly the Health Department, just to have a discussion before we kind of make some final recommendations.
Set up a meeting for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Please include me or Danielle in that, so, because we're gonna be ones drafting it, so.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very well. Now it's department heads, elected officials, opportunity.
Good morning, Carrie Dye, Delaware County Highway Department. On March 13th, we had a surplus auction out at the highway. I wanted to report that I picked up a check for $117,518.72. Of that, 53 items were sold from the Highway Department for a total of $54,983.72, and 20 items through the Sheriff's Department at $62,535. So this will be receipted in through the Highway and the Sheriff's Department.
Thank
I
you.
will send you a copy of what was sold and the amounts. Make sure that they're taken off of our inventory and off the insurance policy.
Thank
So, so those funds will be available to be used. The Sheriff's Department can buy vehicles and the Highway Department can.
Correct.
Equipment.
We'll have to go back to council and have that money appropriated, but
Yeah.
it'll be receipted in.
Was that the first time we used online?
This was not online. Well, it was online through Andy Wagner,
Yeah.
but they actually came out to the facility, and it's the first time that I'm aware since I've been there that we had an auction at the facility.
Okay.
I know in the past we used eGov or something to that.
Right. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Cummings, 911 Director. In reference to some of the stuff that's been said today, the staff meetings are great, but I think the commissioners really need to look to work with Ed and put together a working group to try to institute some of the stuff that we've been talking about. Because I know that a lot of people sat here really confused today about what this was. I think some forewarning and some talk need to go into some of this stuff before it's presented in a resolution where literally nobody, I think, in the room had any idea what was being said. So I would implore you to put together some kind of a committee to start looking at modernizing not only these processes, but a lot of the other processes moving forward, like the payroll system, keeping track of people's time off and not done the archaic way, and look at policy software for the entire county and stuff like that. So, because I know I was confused today about what this even was. I think if we can have some conversations prior to stuff like this, it would be very beneficial to department heads and elected officials to have it. So I would like to see a working group put together to start to address some of this stuff before it comes for a resolution. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kylene Swackheimer, Plan Commission. So it was mentioned at the beginning of this meeting about the issue with the microphones and people being able to hear everyone speaking. I just kind of wanted to summarize for everybody the process of any of our ADA complaints. There is a link on the website to put any of those complaints or grievances in. Once that happens, we review the complaint, make sure all the required information is provided. Any of those complaints do have to be submitted within 180 days of the alleged discriminatory act happening. We will investigate the complaint. If it warrants a full investigation, then the complainant will be notified in writing by certified mail. The party alleged to have acted in a discriminatory manner will also be notified. Any comments or recommendations from our legal counsel will be reviewed by the commissioners and the Title VI coordinator. The county will adopt a final resolution if needed and then report that and notify all those parties involved. In this case, I think this should be an easy, should be able to be rectified easily by just providing instruction to people to make sure they're speaking into the microphones, reminding people, and then as Commissioner Henry said, if there are any issues that continue with this, please just let us know during a meeting and we can kind of handle that. With our county also receiving federal funds as a subrecipient through NDOT, we also do have to submit this to Federal Highway and NDOT per our ADA Title VI grievance procedure. So that has been done as well.
Thank you.
And I'm available for any questions currently. I'm kind of the interim ADA coordinator until we get Josh Jarvis from HR fully on board. Our previous coordinator was Pam McCammon, the previous HR director, and I'm kind of serving in that interim capacity. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Colleen.
Good morning, Commissioners. VSO Brian Wilson. I wanted to share some first quarter numbers with you. During the first quarter, we had 595 contacts with veterans or veteran households. 370 of those were walk-ins, 214 phone calls and emails, and we did 11 home visits or / nursing home visits. And I'd also like to give a thanks to the IT department for getting our PIP card set up. We are compliant with Senate Bill 433 now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the good news. Up the good job. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. Our payment of claims of $4,029,901.62, of which $3,130,645.76 was lit money payment. So, a lot of money.
I make a motion, we pay the claims.
I'll second. Did you get your
Roll call.
questions answered, Madam President? Did you get your questions answered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good enough. Second.
Yep, second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Nope.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes. Payment of ARP claims.
Can I speak real quickly about
I'm
this?
sorry.
Concerning the payment of claims, I will be paying all those. However, I will not be certifying the credit card claims. So going forward, until we're compliant with the ordinance, I will not be certifying any credit card claims.
Yeah.
We're required to pay them.
For the record, he didn't certify them.
How do we proceed on that one?
They'll still get paid. Bills will get paid. The auditor says he's not going to certify.
Okay. Payment of payroll, March 22nd, $1,065,000, $914.58.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Madam President, we need to do American Rescue Plan.
I thought we did. Where are they?
In between claims and the payroll.
Thought I said that. I thought I said that. ARP claims of $7,020.
I'll make a motion, we pay the ARP claims $7,020.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Thank you. Now it's time for the public questions and or good news. We have Mr. Yenser back there waiting patiently, I guess, sleeping.
Yes, Rick Yenser, newsman, author, and thank you for mentioning that. Patience is a virtue, as the Pope always says. I was going to talk about the latest threat here in our community, and it's not data centers or renewable energy. It's property management, brought here by government or the chamber, whether it's Chinese-based or Chinese money, setting up in a warehouse, or a Miami, Florida property management company that's bought up 300 apartments and 5 or 6 buildings and blasted their name all over the downtown. But I think we need to change the episode to taxes, because in my time and my place, I don't think I've ever seen a government try to raise taxes in an election year. But given the circumstances and given the back and forth between property tax relief, property taxes going up, what the government, the schools are going to do about losing property revenue, I still don't think it's a good idea to raise taxes, at least this year. You still have some excess of rescue money. You've always got added money, and you've been using that to run government just like other government here for some time. So I'd not move forward, even though I think you did today on a cumulative building fund. I know the city has one, I know other governments do, but again, I hear more noise about taxes than I do roads on our social media and our platforms. Hopefully, we can find a way to cut spending and live within our means, because I think most people have to. And as far as the property management companies go, it's like I told a couple of people here during the break. We need to be very careful about people coming in here with money, whether they're from this country, another country, and starting to buy up property. We're at war, and you need to realize that war could come to us depending on who's buying what or who has something that they can launch their own community. So anyway, thanks again for plenty of content today that we can tell the people.
Thank you.
Tony Skinner, Delaware County Sheriff. I think I speak for a large portion of the room. I'd like an explanation of what's meant by not certifying the credit cards, but they're getting paid. We're all confused out here. So can we get some detail about that, please, from the auditor's office?
Thank you.
Ed had to go downstairs. There was someone down there that needed to see him. So Tanya Dunsmore with Delaware County Auditor's Office, Chief Deputy. My understanding is that the purchases being made on some of the credit cards do not comply with the ordinance that is in effect here in Delaware County. So by him not certifying, it just means that he will not be signing off on them. The commissioners are the ones who sign off for those to pay. So as long as there's 2 out of 3 votes, then it does get paid, and it gets paid through the auditor's office, but the auditor himself will not be signing.
So what's going to happen eventually is Sherry or I1 is going to say we're not signing. That's what's going to happen. So I suggest, and I've been trying to get everyone to do this, and you're not listening. So I'm going to say it again. Follow the ordinance. If there's anything else that needs paid, follow the processes. All right? Because I'm telling you, the credit, one of these days, we're not going to sign them. And you guys are just going to be in limbo. So I'm just telling you, get your offices together and follow the processes and follow that credit card ordinance, or I'm just telling you, it's coming. It's coming. They're not going to get paid. So follow the processes. That's what you need to do.
Okay. Now, Ms. Swingley?
Cheryl Swingley, Muncie. Commissioners, you always get the last word after public comments at each meeting, and I don't know if that is wise or not. Perhaps the last word should be from public comments that citizens make, especially when a group of these citizens are called a name at the end of a meeting. I now direct my comments to Commissioner Brand. Commissioner Brand, at the last meeting, you made reference to the haters. What is a hater? My guess is that they are people who don't agree with you. However, people speaking against something that does not make them haters. Just because someone doesn't agree with you, it doesn't mean they are a hater or should be called such a name. When the term haters is used, it's one of those trigger words that have been injected into comments that are designed to distract and cause people to shut up and sit down. These words also are usually chosen to belittle those who oppose them or threaten their power. Haters and a number of other words I have chosen not to say here are a tactic used by too many of our public officials today to discourage conversation, hinder critical thinking, and avoid accountability. I would like to say, just because I and others disagree with some of your positions, that does not equate to hatred. Personally, I have a much different perspective on some issues than you do, and because I disagree with you, it should not be defined as hate. In the future, please refrain from marginalizing people who disagree with you. We are not haters. Finally, openness to different perspectives might be an ideal way, or it might be an ideal too far removed from current reality. But it's worth remembering that public officials are accountable to the citizens they serve. Citizens elect public officials, citizens employ public officials. All citizens' concerns, positions, and ideas should be heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else think of something? If not, now it's commissioners' time. Mr. Brand?
Wednesday, April 22nd is Earth Day, so hopefully everybody will get out and do something good for our planet. I know I certainly plan to do that. I'd like to thank all the county employees for all the hard work they do every day. The work that we do is important, and the citizens depend on it, and I appreciate everybody's effort. I'd like to remind everybody that summer's here and the highway department will be more visible on the roads. Please make sure that we're paying attention and we're respecting their safety. Slow down and don't go around detour signs. We've had some roads closed doing some ditch work, and people still continue to go down the roads and get through. Understand people need to go down the road and get to their house. That's a different story, but people are trying to get through. So please respect that for people's safety. The website work is ongoing. Core, they are the website manager today. They're not going to support the county after this year. I'd like to commend and thank Kyle Johnson for all the hard work he's doing. That seems to be going really well. And for those that have supported him from your specific department, please don't let your foot off the gas. There's still a lot of work left to do and a short time to do it. As far as the public comments that were just made, I would like to just remind everybody, including the person that made the comments, that I answer every email. I respond to everything. I've taken every single meeting that anybody wants to invite me to. So to say that I don't listen, I think is short-sighted. And I don't think there's any such thing as a trigger word. Thank you, Madam President.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Well, I would like to thank everybody that stayed today. On the way out, the voting is going on downstairs from 8:30 to 4 p.m. during the week, and on the next 2 Saturdays, the voters' election room will be open. And other than that, have a good day.
Motion to recess.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes,
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
thank you.